All right, let's get to this because that's very interesting. We need to talk about that. All right, ladies and gents, welcome back to Age of Empires 4 action. It's Japanese versus Order of the Dragon, and the Battle of the Brothers commences. We found a gem here. Lucifron versus Vortex. And Vortex essentially playing pseudo-Byzantines here. Interesting. So what happened here is this game opened by Vortex walking over Order of the Dented and then cancelling on the mining camp and prioritizing the house. I think it's because of the loose sheep that can spawn there. He's trying to like auto-gather it. But it's also because Japanese do have some interesting openings. So he placed this house to get a slightly early warning against Bugisha raids. It's an interesting detail. I think it's something that people are kind of doing with a little bit more respect, a little bit more credence because of the Byzantines with their unique tech that gives them 7 tower ranges worth of scouting on a house. But even normal houses, although it's a baby range, it's still a difference maker, right? You need to build a house anyway. He didn't have to walk much further to do so, but what he guaranteed by doing so is he has a little bit more stretch in terms of protection there. So interesting detail. And yeah, there you go. So Vortex are now chain, sheep, house, mining camp back. But let's talk about the matchup overall. Japanese versus Order of the Dragon is an interesting one. I think Order of the Dragon has been struggling in a lot of matchups. This one in particular to me feels very Japanese favored. I think the ability to just play into mass samurai Bugisha really can screw the Order of the Dragon. And the quantity over quality approach does make it difficult for OOTD to play. But Vortex, he's already doing something we haven't been seeing too much of at the moment. Archon Chapel opening. This is something that most players have just felt is underwhelming. Only that 10% gathering rate. It's crazy as well because if you get the Archon Chapel blessing, you are still 5% worse off than standard HRE with buffed eco. So it's kind of weird. Honestly, devs, if you're listening, I'd say add a 5% on there. I don't think adding 5% on there is going to make this OP at all, but it will at least bring it more in line with the original HRE's choice. And I don't think it would make the mine work bad. I actually do think the mine work needs some balances around it. Like a lot of its unique tech still suck, but an extra 5% here plus the mine work getting fixed. And I think we all of a sudden have Order of the Dragon looking a bit more competitive in Feudal Age. And we also have them having a much harder choice to make when going for Feudal Age. The other side, Lucifron should have a pretty easy choice. What? Okay, he went for the Daimyo super early. I've seen people do the Stone Gathering, but I've seen them save it for like a second TC. But Lucifron done the Prio Daimyo upgrade, goes to the Kura Storehouse afterwards, and then he's going for another TC after that. Unless this is this a double Daimyo upgrade? Oh, that could be super sick, actually. Oh, that is really interesting if he does that. So, if I'm not mistaken, this could be a double Daimyo upgrade build into, I actually want to say like racks plus stables would be really scary here because that would give him the buffed horsemen against these dragon archers to just get wrecked, and he'd also have the kind of front line to contest. This could be really interesting. I'm hoping this is a double Daimyo upgrade, but I think this is just going to be 2 TC. Yeah, he's off the stone. This is just 2 TC, which is fine as well. It's just a different approach. There's been 2 approaches so far. We've seen like Dumu and Corvinus do the one where you open hard on the... So you go for initial gold, which Lucifron didn't do, and then go stone, and then you basically have the TC first and upgrade Daimyo later. Instead, Lucifron hard pivoted onto stone, got all the gold he required from the 20% extra drop-off of one resource as the other, and then pulls back when he needs the wood. So he has enough for the tech up. He already has enough stone stored for the second TC. He has his Daimyo already upgraded, which gave him the villager produced. So, by the way, like I keep emphasizing this, when you go for the Daimyo upgrade, you don't miss out on a villager. Because what it does is it gives you a villager for free alongside the upgrade. But now it means the moment he reaches into Feudal Age, he can immediately drop a Rax or a Stables and get a Yumi out. The other build where you go for the TC first delays that timing, so you're not able to get the Yumi. What it essentially does is like by making it this way, I'm not sure which one is more efficient, but I know which one is better in terms of options. This one is better in terms of options because it allows him to open with a Stables or a Rax. If you go for the TC first and then the Daimyo afterwards, you can't really go for the Stables because you won't have access to the Samurai Warrior, the Samurai Knight rather. and people asking about the farm placement and why he's placed it here, is so that every single farm around this Kura storehouse will get buffed by the daimyo. If he builds it an extra tile out, he's inefficient. So what you've essentially done is you've like traded some like farms, max farms, right? But you've gathered this. You're just gathering the wood earlier for a start, and on top of that, the farms that are being placed are all more efficient, 25% more efficient already. I'm a really big fan of this. I hate seeing these loose storehouses because you lose efficiency. Another cool play that I haven't seen players do yet, but you could do, is if you need to pry wood and you don't need the food for whatever reason, like say you're playing a fishing map, build the Kura storehouse and then build palisade walls around, but don't complete them. What will happen is the farms can't spawn, so they instantly start producing wood. And yeah, he only loses one, because the idea is the lumber camp will eventually be removed. One issue I might take is the fact that he built a lumber camp this early, because the Kura storehouse is a drop-off location for wood. So kind of surprised by that. But other than that, I really like this opening. And there we go. That's what we talked about. Lucifron instantly has the stables. He's checking to see what his opponent's done, and then immediately queues up the Abandonment. This is really bloody strong. This is, honestly, like, of the two, I'm a bigger fan of this. I need to see a bigger sample group, but my initial instinct is the opening with the Daimyo upgrade into the second TC makes you less predictable. Whereas if you've done the alternative, Order the Dragon player on the other side is already like, he's going racks, I'm going to build archers. Well, Vortex does go for a second TC as well. Did set up the outpost, is going in for the arrow slits also. Arrow slits is not going to help much against this opening. It's an Abandonment. The thing that, by the way, makes this opening really strong is the fact that usually you'd wait 35 seconds for a knight. It takes 15 seconds. That is bonkers. It gives you this really aggressive timing, and while the outpost is going to protect these villagers, it's still going to make them uncomfortable. And the cool thing is, Lucifron, being a micromaster that he is, he can easily skirt this in a way that means that Vortex just idles out a lot of eco, doesn't really get much damage done. So strikes coming in. Oh, villagers actually fighting is peculiar here. So there you go. So he picks them low, moves away. Still down to half HP, but now if you wait 8 seconds, you'll respawn the deflective armor, and then you can dive in again. And while that's happening, there's a wall-in attempt by Lucifron. So he's worried about Vortex going for a fast castle build here. Does he know about this? You have to, right? I don't think he does. Yo, this is kind of crazy, actually, because Vortex got the backspawn stone. It's unlikely that Lucifron scouted the stone being gathered. So he might not know it's a second TC, and might be assuming this is some sort of fast castle Regnitz play. By the way, not the biggest fan of fast castle Regnitz plays. I think they're much harder for the Order of the Dragon. There's a very big difference in that the HRE starts with a prelate, and they can also use their TC to produce prelates. You, as the Order of the Dragon, have to wait for Castle Age to even begin prelate production. That's a very big cripple point, because if you remember, usually the idea of the fast castle build for HRE is you arrive, and you've got like 2 prelates walking out already towards the relics before you hit Castle Age. You can't do that as the Order of the Dragon. So don't expect to see as many Regnitz builds. There are going to be games where they're great for it, but Burgrave, because of that design choice, I love that choice for the devs because I think it inherently makes Burgrave a more desirable choice in conjunction with the different approach where it costs 30% less to produce units out of it. So, also when hitting the field means that eventually those scouts are going to be denied, but we finally see the commitment by Vortex. I think he's been baited, though. Racks into Spearman. This is not a prolonged feudal from Lucifron. It's going to be a fast castle, and it's floating gate. Oh, that is so deceptive. Lucifron, I can't believe you've done that to your own brother. So, let's talk about what the dynamics of play are here. I want you to think about this from Vortex's perspective. Like, take the God Vision away. We're playing like this. You're Vortex. You look amazing board. Well done. You look amazing in Age of Empires 4. And because you're so amazing in Age of Empires 4, you read the motions of things. You see that your opponent is walling in relics. He's worried that you're fast castling. That sounds like, actually, Japanese are going to try to maybe flood the field a bit. Maybe they're playing a longer feudal. Uh-oh. He went Castle Age. So this was actually just to deny me my fastest castle. And he wasn't going to play aggression at all. Instead, he wanted to snake those relics for himself. And now, Lucifron has the opportunity to take control and potentially get 4 relics on this map. Because here's another bonkers difference. We talked about the fact that actually as the Order of the Dragon, you can't have any relic gatherers before you reach Castle Age. Japanese get one as they hit Castle Age. That floating gate immediately spawns you with your religious unit. And that religious unit, I'm really hoping, is going to be moving for the Northern Relic here. Let's have a look. Where is he now? Because I think he was dropping off... Shinto get moving? I'm hoping he's going for the Northern Relic, because that should be the nab. He has got cavalry stationed up there right now, but Vortex is producing cavalry of his own. It's going to take a while. 40 seconds to get the Gilded Knights out. And they are not cheap, folks. 480 resources a pop. If the Shinto Priest goes north straight away, though, it's going to be 4 relics. Instead, he's moving east, so the logic here for Lucifron, yeah, he's going to try to nab the furthest one, isn't he? You greedy... I love it. So there was 2 options here. You either go for the furthest, or you gather the near one, with the logic being that you don't want to play eastern and western flanks, so now you can funnel all your forces west. I think he's going to go for the eastern one, like this one, though, right? It makes a lot more sense, because like this one's a gamble. Your opponent could have walled it, he could have gathered it already, because his castle age, he could be sniping you there. This is safe, though. This is how you get 4 relics. Yeah, I love that. Okay, how many players, be honest in chat right now, who would have went for that Eastern Relic? Be honest. Don't think about the assessment I just gave you. Go on your instinct of how greedy you want to be. So many of us would want that. They'd be like, 5 relics, go. 5 relics, go. 5 relics, go. You would have lost to Shinto Priest, and he would have got 2 relics because of it. That's the smart level we're playing at here. It's the same idea as what we were talking about earlier in the day about like where you place your outposts as a Mongol player. If you get the GG post, it's not going to work. If you choose to like take something that makes the game annoying and gives you an edge but still lets them play the game, you'll win. It's the same logic with this relic choice. 4 relics is more than plenty to beat the Order of the Dragon, especially considering that Lucifron is playing as the Japanese that get the discount relics anyway. And what I mean by that is I mean these things that you can drop in forges, if you please. Looks like for now, actually, dropped one in the house, and I think... Where else did he drop it, actually? I need to test this one. I'm pretty sure you can... I'm not sure if you can actually drop a Yorishiro in a temple. I don't think you can. If you could, that's actually disgusting to think about, though. Because you'd be producing Shinto priests every 10 seconds. So he put it in the house, but he had a second one, and I'm blind. I can't see where he... Was it up here? He ran it down originally. Oh, wait, it's here in the stables. Yeah, so stables and a house. Makes sense, right? He's now producing mounted samurai every 12 seconds. I should have checked that number, actually. There's only one reason you'd have 9 mounted samurai already out of 1 stable, and it's because of that. This is what I love about the Yorishiro. It's such a fun landmark relic interaction. Like, the different things you can do, the eco, the thing you can put them in the TCs, right, to get the increased production speed. The increased production speeds on stables, racks, or archery ranges. I love the diversity of options it gives the Japanese at the start of Castle Age. And this game right now is looking so good for Lucifron. Second relic's going to be yoinked there. That feels like a bit of a slip-up. That should not be happening. Yeah, a bit perplexing, actually, that he never checked the northern side. Almost like he was giving it too much respect for his opponent who already got it. Right now, just Mounted Samurai alone is dangerous. Look at the comp he's up against. Spearmen plus the Gilded Knights. Right now, Vortex is thumbs up. Oh, man. I'm very surprised by this. I think from Lucifron's perspective, I think he was paranoid that his opponent was going to come straight to him. So he tried to posture aggressively. But your army doesn't win that fight any day. You need to play flanks. It's the only way this comp works. So instead, we're going to go for a reset. And we are going to be moving into the Yumi Archers. Yumi Archers are pretty effective. The thing you got to keep in mind with Yumi is like they look terrible in the stats. But the reality of what this unit is, very fast, able to gap close and disengage. Costs less than standard archers. And once you add in a Yumi Bannerman, no worse than standard archers at all. So 3-2 relic split. This is looking a lot better for Vortex than it maybe should have. Sacred Sites are starting to be capped by Lucifron. Flash coming out here is going to force the Knights away. Thing for Lucifron is you don't want to reveal you've got archers just yet. You want to hide them for as long as possible. Because the idea is like if you show up the archers now, Vortex says, okay, horsemen. Because he's already got stables. So you need to try and like boost up to 20, 30 Yumi and then ambush him with it. And they will appear fast, folks, considering that they do produce quicker than standard archers. You could even drop a Yorishiro in one of them if you choose. Also getting into the Inspired Warriors now. This is a big deal. Inspired Warriors is such a game breaker, a game changer for this Civ. Because the base stats on a lot of these units are quite high, right? So 15% damage booster is even bigger for you than it is for other Civs. And no, the army values like are not correct for the Order of the Dragon. We went over this already. They're really weird. They don't function correctly. Because these knights are like 480 each, right? And he's got 8 of them. So that's almost like 4,000 his own. And the spearmen are 180 resources, was it? No, 160? The numbers aren't quite right, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong, actually. I've stopped bothering to do the maths here because, like, we had a game earlier where the Order of the Dragon clearly had double the archer count to what the value was showing. So I think some units might calculate correctly, but others don't. Because actually, now that I do the maths there, so if we do 480, it was 480, right? Just double checking. Yeah, so 480 times 8. So you're going to be at, what was that? 38. Wait, no, it's 39.20, right? I think that's right. And then the Spearman was at 15 at the time, which would have been a pretty easy one. That would have been 2.4k. So that number's kind of there. Slightly off, I think. Or my maths was slightly off. Because I'm just trying to spitball it quickly because no point like hanging around as the number literally keeps increasing. But we had a game earlier where like the Dragon Archers, or the Gilded Archers rather, was not calculating right whatsoever. You guys might remember that game if you were watching long. Like, legit, he had, like, 20... I think it's Beastie's game. He had, like, 10 Gilded Archers, and it just didn't count. But most of them, I think, do calculate. There's just a few units that seem to have issue doing math. They seem to be more stuck on math. I wonder if Land Sharks show correctly. We can easily check. This is a 320 resource unit. We'll wait for it to come out. Okay, so that calculates correctly. So it seems to be mainly archers that are just bad on the math. This army's looking really good for Vortex, though. I don't know where you're going. Afterlife? Afterlife. Looks like the Gigantism boys could have this. Like, this is actually a very healthy army right now for Vortex. There is one scary detail, though. I'm seeing Onimusha. Oh, that's kind of scary. Vortex doesn't have a single answer to that. He's got 6 horsemen, which isn't terrible, but, you know, you got 3 ranged armor. Base damage is decent on the Onimusha. Onimusha, which, by the way, are going to counter the knights. They're going to counter any men-at-arms, but you only build 1, of course. The issue is more, it's the kiting to kill, right? Not just they counter because they have bonus damage. This is a horse archer on cocaine. It does come at a premium compared to the horse archers, in fairness. But it is quite often worth it, especially if you get this. The Kaburaya Whistling Arrow allows you to just move in quickly and out. I actually highly rate Kaburaya. It's not that expensive of a tech. Only 175 resources. But it means you can just get in, poke, get out. Get in, poke, get out. It makes the Onimusha a more effective raiding unit than counterparts such as the Horse Archer. I mean, they already kind of were with their extra tire range, right? 5.5. For anyone still confused about what these Onimusha are, they are basically the crossbowmen of the Japanese. They feel very weird to use a lot of the time, though. It's kind of weird as well, because it's kind of refreshing. How many matchups have you seen where spearmen like get used as a counter crossbowmen? And ironically, like, this is the real counter. They actually would completely rinse these. They could fight them. Onimusha coming in, clash out. Knights have to retreat away to allow the spearmen through. But Yumi have focused him down. A wraparound coming in. This is the micro of the gods here. The Vortex not able to get that surround and pinch. A few horsemen make their way to the backside. Onimusha now cutting back left and right just to try and dodge out that bonus damage against them. The front side of this fight is looking a bit dicey. The Blighted Beef Fruit's coming in, the Spearman and the Langstecker in. Lucifron, I think he needs to pull the Musha away and leave the Yumi to die, because this fight is won by Vortex. Oh man, that is such a rough one there. It looked good initially when Vortex was scrambling on the flanks, but on the flip side of this, Vortex gets that pincher, gets on the backline with the cleave, and forces the retreat. But now things get a bit dicey, folks. There's still a decent amount of Musha, which means you can deal with the remaining knights. And once they are gone, with the Spearmen going in, they will be. You will get kited. Notice the step back, right? Yumi, move faster. Onimusha, move faster. These Spearmen, these men-at-arms, Langsneck, all slower at 1.25 movement speed. Means you can never really gap close. So he's going to throw a few to the front side, though. Throw a few to the Wolves. Vortex with the second surge coming in behind this. Now Lucifron, it looks like he's got the edge, but it's only because he's defending right now. So production is on his side, but military mass is not. Vortex now resets and looks to move away. Needs to be careful not to lose those prelates. That buff actually came in handy there. Bonus damage definitely being a big difference maker in those engagements. But this right now, I mean, this is what I want to see, right? I've got sick and tired of watching Order of the Dragon look like Order of the Derpdom. Now they're actually fighting. Arguably, they're winning. But how do you follow it up is what I'm wondering. Because the issue I am now seeing, all of your knights are gone. Lucifron had to build mass Onimusha to counter those knights. It's insanely expensive. It's more cost efficient to do what he's doing now. It's mass Yumi Ashigaru. These Yumi Ashigaru, they hit pretty damn hard. Not much damage going to go from the horsemen, but the spearmen are not going to last long. And the reality of this fight now is as long as there's a few spearmen remaining, the gilded horsemen cannot fight. Well, it's being sniped. Careful not to expose that flank. Spearmen are going to force the A-clicks onto him. Horseman taking a lot of damage, and the spearman on the backside still being sniped out by Yumi. Lucifron is turning. Oh man, this is looking rough now. I think Vortex, he's trying to switch into the archers, but look at what Lucifron's doing. Oh no. He baited him. He actually done it. He was waiting for this moment. This is so crafty out of Lucifron. It's the mass samurai switch. And the reason this is just a mass bait is mass samurai will beat horsemen due to their sucky attack speed. He will beat spearmen because of the bonus damage from the Adachi. He will beat archers not only because he's heavily armored, but because Odachi affects all infantry. Vortex's only hope of beating that was like mass knights. There's no realm in which he would have prepped more knights behind this. So brilliant read by Lucifron. He'll send in the Yumis to trade out because he knows horsemen are coming. He'll keep the archer number as low as possible. And I imagine he'll wait to reveal the samurai. Let's have a look here. Okay, actually no samurai coming in. So he's going to reveal with full firepower. Understandable considering there's a decent amount of mass left behind Vortex here. Now, Langsneck would be the solution. He is now priming those. So it's really important that Lucifron now keeps a balance. He needs to keep both the Yumi and the samurai coming. Instead, he goes for mounted samurai, though. I did not expect that. I wonder what the thought is now. Well, I guess from his perspective, he's like, Vortex is burning all of his eco to do this, right? So if I can just split a few samurai onto the economy, that's going to break him. I kind of like that, because now the issue is you start revealing samurai early, so Langsneck will count you. But the problem with the Langsneck is that when they waste time attacking samurai, they might die before they do actually any damage at all. One thing that is kind of rough as well, by the way, I need to double check it. I'm pretty sure it doesn't trigger the deflective. If you have a Langsneck and you get your hands on the Zunhan, you get the bleed effect, right? That will not go through, that will not break deflective, but it will be damage added on afterwards. So it's kind of like very effective against these units where you lose your first attack. Keep in mind, Vortex doesn't have access to Zunhao because he hasn't got the mind work. So kind of a detrimental element, right? Makes me wonder if that would have been more worth it for him, per se. Actually, yeah, that could have been cool, because maybe he could have played Prolonged Men-at-Arms as well. The Dragon Cuirass is pretty ass, but every once in a while it can be handy. I think against this comp, because more just Raw Spearman, it would have been good, but I don't think it's going to be Raw Spearman anymore, folks. Tanegashima Gunsmith is on the way, and Vortex has no idea, no ability to go up himself. And this is going to be the game breaker, right? I'm expecting immediate Ozutsu. I want to see what Vortex's reaction is going to be the moment he sees this. I don't think you boot archers anymore. If you boot archers, you lose. The problem is he's seeing Spearman, so he feels like he needs it, right? But immediately 5 Ozutsu take the field. And the reality of this game right now is Vortex needs more horsemen. But now that Japanese have reached Imperial Age, you can't go more horsemen. Look at what he's queuing up. It's the Nagayari. This is going to give him the extra range, the extra damage. Any cavalry show up, they're dead. More or less anything shows up as dead. And that's why Vortex is going now. He needs to force a fight before the tech-ups come in. Ozutsu going to scare him away, though. They get a few good shots in. That could be it. That's why you can see the staggered formation now coming out from Vortex. The lines do clash. Trying to do as much damage as he can before the age up really matters. Horseman to the backside on top of the Ozutsu now being sniped out. Horsemen are getting good exchanges here, by the way. Ozutsu have to peel and go into the Yumi line. But if this is just a neck-and-neck trade, it's not good enough. Vortex needs an outright win, and right now he's doing exactly that. Military numbers looking good, but upgrades finally kicking through. Elite Yumi are in, and that means they trade well up against the Gilded. Man, and this is where Vortex is kind of stuck in a bind, right? He can't stop to go Imperial Age. He has to keep the machine going. That might cost him dearly. Few Ozutsu remain. And the archers are starting to stack. They're going to start to feel that pain. The Yuumi buff also coming in. That splash damage doing 40. Now that Lucifron's fully unlocked, you'll see him go back for the blacksmith upgrades. Vortex now trying to save up, but he needs to balance this finally. I think he's got what he needs, though. Pulse of Swabia should be accessible in just a second. The question is, can you go for it? Is it worth going for it over an Elsbach here? I mean, I think he might actually need an Elsbach to hold the front. Is it going to be good enough, though? Elsbach it is. Okay, I'm fine with this. I'm 100% on board with this. I'm just sailing in the ship alongside Vortex right now. This is the play. If he went for a Pulse of Swabia, it's a flood and dead. This is going to slow things down. Lucifron will not be able to breach. He'll have to slow down and think about the bombards. That's going to buy vital time for Vortex. Remember, he's still playing HRE, so he still has access to Culverins. So he can still kind of counter out that slow siege approach. Pulse of Swabia, wouldn't have given this extra layer of protection. This does, even against the Ozutsu. Few villages to be sacrificed. But Elsbach is up, and Lucifron has to head back. And all of a sudden, folks, 27 minutes in, we have a game. Lucifron not able to capitalize on that Imperial Age timing. Didn't really find the bang for buck, right? Good split in the fight coming out from Vortex. Stopped any overlap. Ozutsu got raided by just 3 horsemen and counted out. But Lucifron says, Vortex, you're not out of the woodworks yet. You can't see the village beyond the forest. There's still dangers that await. As the dive comes in, Yuumi trading out against the archers, basically returning fire against what Vortex done against Lucifron in his own base. Making sure he snipes out everything before the upgrades can be there. You can even see incendiary arrows being prepped behind this a minute away for Lucifron. The march on in, villagers just being idled out. Vortex, I mean, his food income is about to plummet. Has got farms to the backside, but this is effectively about half of his food income that's about to be blocked. The dive continues. Lucifron willing to do this. Remember, he's fully popped. Vortex. The problem I'm seeing right now is, like, by the time these upgrades come through, there's barely any archers remaining. Yuumi's just been trading so well on the Ozutsu. Oh, no. Oh! Kill him fast. I think he's going to lose a lot of villages here, folks. Like, actually, Pulse of Swabia may have been needed, and he knows it. GG comes out. Vortex. It felt like maybe he could find a way to edge into this, but no way to maintain mass military upon tech up. Means that Zerg factor of Yuumi kicks you right in the nuts. Whew.